There we are. Hello, 5-star. Welcome to the 10,000 Club. I am here with your awesome broker support team, Paul Brooks and Doug Hale.
Hey, good morning, gang. Good morning.
Hello, hello.
Good morning, happy fall. Fall is finally here, right?
Yeah, baby.
Huh?
Yes.
Yes, it's here. So for all you that don't like the heat, I am a sun bunny. More sun the better. So, but I know some of you are happy. So, yeah. So today we have a really special treat for you. We are going to put Paul and Doug on the hot seat, and they are going to do some live overcoming objection conversation with you today. So we're going to talk in between. We're going to give you some live role play, and then we're going to talk about how we do it and why we do it. What we want you to take away is that these are just conversations. They're not a script. They're just, sometimes we give you scripts, but I like to have the script just to help me to know, to put into my brain, what questions am I asking? What am I saying here? And what do I say next? So we're going to give you some good examples, and hope you take something away. Paul or Doug, you want to say some more to that before we get started?
What I would like to say is that, we're going to kind of be a little bit in character and then come out and talk about why we say what we say and why we say it, kind of thing. It's just from the years of experience of talking with people, and it's really as simple as that. I think scripts, I think the practice scripts are really good and kind of get the key words that you say. There's a book out there called The Book of Yes, and I should have it with me. I don't, but it's called The Book of Yes, and they're really good scripts. And it's probably the best book that I've seen that, I feel that I could say these things. But if you read them and say them enough, then you just put them into your words and it comes out the same, and you get the same result or question or answer or whatever. So it just kind of keeps saying it over and over again, and it just naturally starts to come out.
Yeah.
So I have nothing written down on these questions. I'm just going to say what comes to mind today, this minute. And that's how I do it, to be honest. It's as simple as that. But it has been coming from practicing scripts. Back in the old days, there's this guy called Floyd Wickman, and it was like a 7-8 week class. It was all day long, 1 day a week, and they were into scripts. And we practiced with a team member in the class. But then you didn't say exactly what they said, but you learned kind of the lingo and the words to say that kind of helped you get through the objection or trying to help the person out. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And a couple things I just wanted to say too. And again, I wanted to reiterate, as you said it, Kim, this is a conversation. And again, people feel like sometimes when someone objects, whether it's a buyer or seller, you kind of feel like you're on the defense a little bit, right? Like you have to feel like you have to answer. And I'm always one of those guys that says, thank people for the objection. Mm-hmm. Hey, thanks so much, Paul, for saying that, for bringing that up. And then you kind of work into that, whatever the objection is. Again, it's done so freely lots of times that, again, you're going to hear the same as you kind of get through this. Isn't it amazing? You hear the same objections from a lot of different people. I don't know if you guys do or not, but I do. They're not a whole lot of objections that sometimes people have to overcome. And I'm also one of those guys that says, if you give a great presentation and if you sit down and really hone into whom you're dealing with, whether it's buyer or seller, you're going to have less and less objections. And I'm a believer in that. If I follow through, I ask the right questions, you'll see where there will be less objections. So,
right.
Anyways.
So we'll get started. What I've always been taught is when the answer is no, it just means they need to know more. Hey. And when there's an objection, like we're going to start at an open house, and the things that I say to Paul, but the real truth is I'm at an open house, right? Or if I'm shopping and the clerk says, oh, something special brings you in today. No, I'm just looking. Yeah. Well, I'm looking for something or I wouldn't be there, right?
That's right.
So it's just to answer or to find more questions to get your questions going to be in their last answer. And so it's just conversation. So we think it's helpful to just give you some some live samples, and we'll just start on this and we'll roll. And we're going to start with buyers, and then we'll go into sellers. If we don't finish buyers today, then we'll pick it up next week. But we hope that this is helpful for you. All right, we're ready. So
Ready.
say I'm a buyer, and Paul is having an open house, and I come through the open house and he starts conversation with me. So go, Paul.
Hi, welcome to the open house. How are you guys doing today?
Doing awesome. Thank you. I'm doing great. It's a beautiful
Doing great.
day.
Great. So, hey, take a look around. Let me know if you have any questions. Here's a feature sheet on the property. Again, my name is Paul Brooks. Have any questions, let me know.
All right, perfect. Well, we're going to take a look around, but we're just kind of looking. We're not really serious. So, you don't need to spend any time with this. We're good. We're just kind of looking around for now.
Okay, really, Kim. So, how long have you been looking?
We're just kind of browsing, and we're thinking about looking, but it'd probably be another 3 or 6 months before we could really ever do anything. Kind of have bad credit, and so we're just sort of daydreaming right now, and saw you on an open house, so we decided to come by.
Well, that's great. So, are you going to other open houses today? Have you been through any others, or?
Yeah, I pop in once in a while, and like I said, it's just kind of a dream for me, but I just really don't know much about it, and I don't know what it takes. So we just like looking at houses. So, we just came out to look.
Well, in the last couple of weeks, like, how many houses have you been through? Have you ever been through an open house with have you ever been through a house with an agent, or are you guys just open house people and just bopping around?
Yeah, sometimes, I go on Zillow and I find those agents on there, and they're really quick to call me back, and they really want to take me out to see a house. So yeah, I go out, but I just go out with whoever wants to take me, and I just still take a look around. But yeah, I've done it a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with you guys looking, is your house, like, you said maybe 3 to 6 months? Have you ever talked to a banker or anyone to find out, what you qualify for and things like that?
No, not really. I really don't even know what it takes to buy a house.
Okay. Well, one of the things that you mentioned is that you're concerned about maybe bad credit or damaged credit or bruised credit. I have I got a couple of people that I know, and they have helped other people like yourself that kind of are unsure of this. And I think one of the best things to do is to go talk to my friend John or my friend Dave. And they have really helped some of my past customers with damaged credit. And a lot of times that they have ways that they can send out emails and questions, and they can help you improve your credit. I had a guy that had bad credit, and within a couple months, they were able to get his credit up enough to buy a home. And I think one of the most important things about this is knowing what you can afford, because what's frustrating as a buyer is that if you say you work with an agent, you're going to start going through these homes, and you're going to find out, well, I can't afford $350. The max I can do is $300. And so if you wouldn't mind, I could have my friend Dave call you and maybe set up a time and just talk to him. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and just kind of get a relationship maybe built. And then maybe get you excited, and maybe your credit's not as bad as you think. And they've just helped in the past. And I think it's really good to go look at houses, because the more you look at houses, the more you learn the market. And so then when you see that house, you will be totally like, this is the one. I've been through all these houses in $300,000 price range, and I know this one's a good value or whatever. Today's market's a little harder right now because of the low inventory. But if you're just looking, I think it's important to maybe at least go to the bank and stuff like that, and just get some information about how you can get a house. And because if you do have damaged credit, 3 to 6 months might be 6 months, and that's what you might need to do. So that's what I would suggest. And hey, if you don't mind, I would love to follow up with you. I have the sign-in sheet. If you would sign in, please. And then what I'll do is I'll check back with you, and then I'll have my friend John call you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I really feel like that might be a good place to start. I appreciate your help at just helping me a little bit, because I really didn't even know what to do next. So yeah, let me give you my phone number. I'll sign in here, and yeah, I really appreciate your help, Paul.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to bug you. I'm going to check in with you. I just want to do my job. And hey, there's a lot of good agents out there, but if I can help you and if you get your credit straight around or you want to fill me in of what happened. Also, one of the things that I can do is I can set you up on a portal. And I know there's Zillow and all these other searching sites and stuff, but with the MLS, I mean, that's kind of our gospel. And so I can sign you up once we figure out the price range that you're in. And then once the listing is entered, it's going to hit you like in seconds and you will know, and it will be right. It'll be accurate and you'll know. And then you can just kind of go through these and see kind of what you like. And at least it gets you kind of get going. And so 3-6 months goes by fast. So anyways,
Perfect.
hey, I really appreciate you coming to the open house. Nice to meet you. Hey, have a great weekend.
Perfect. Thank you. So that's how it's done. Perfect. Good role play, Paul. Doug, you have anything that you want to add to that?
I was just going to say, in a situation like that, and again, I love Paul's questions because, again, they started out being very general questions. And then all of a sudden it turned to a point, Paul, where you were kind of giving them suggestions on what to do next or those next steps. And so often what happens with buyers, especially the folks like you just said, Kim, I mean, we're just looking. We're just kind of getting our feet wet, just dipping our toe in the water. We really don't know what we want, nor do we know what we can afford. The reality is you're kind of trying to put a path in place for them to do that, right?
Yeah.
All the questions that you were asking were great questions because Kim was then saying, she was going to have to commit to some kind of an answer to you. And again, it was great because you kind of led her down the path of saying, okay, in the meantime, in the next 3 to 6 months, here's what I'd like to see, get accomplished, something like that. And again, I like the way those questions went forward. I don't think I would add anything to that. I think
it was very natural, right? It was just natural.
It was a very natural conversation. And again, I'm going to come from a point of saying non-threatening. Because so often what happens when people come to an open house, they've kind of got the Heisman up, right? So well, I'm not going to tell you who I am. I'm certainly not going to sign your sheet. Man alive, if I sign your sheet, that means Paul's going to call me every week, week in, week out. He's just going to bug me until what if I don't want to work with Paul? And what if I didn't tell Paul that, I've got a friend in the business, that kind of thing. So those are great questions.
Right.
Let me say a couple of things about the open house since we're kind of in the open house, if that's okay. Is that okay if we talk about this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Sure. So my 30 years of real estate, most of it has been in new construction and being at open houses at models. So I have done open houses 2 to 3 a week, every week for 30 years. And I'm not kidding. I mean, I have opened my trunk and put a sign out so many times I can't even tell you. So one of the things I do, and this is perfect because I can't tell really good, Doug, but do you have an Arcadia Bluffs sweater on?
I do. As a matter of fact, I do.
Okay. So here's what I do when someone walks in. I pick out something that they're wearing, they're driving, or they're doing. And so if Doug would have walked into my open house, right when he walked in, he comes in, he says, hi, how you doing? I kind of meander out of the kitchen, just to kind of let them go into the kitchen. And I would have said to Doug,
Doug, you're a pro golfer, aren't you?
No, you're not. I would say, you got an Arcadia Bluff sweater. That is so cool. I said, you know what? We have meetings up there all the time. I said, I've never golfed the course. I would love to. Do you golf a lot? Blah, 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 blah. I'll tell you what, you want to talk about breaking down walls? It is in an instant. This guy now will talk to me about golfing and the rest of the family will go look at the house and the wife will say, Doug, get your butt over here and look at this house and quit talking about Arcadia Bluffs. It works every single time. I've done it with, especially now with football, everyone's wearing football gear. They come in, Michigan State. Oh, did you go to Michigan State? No, my kid does. Oh, you know what? My kid did too. Or I didn't. Or my brother bleeds blue. Unfortunately, ha, 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 ha. If you take those things, I'm telling you, it will work every time. Try it. Try it. You pick something off someone, what they're wearing is a key. Yeah. I can't tell you. And then they break it down. And I will tell you another thing about signing in. I have had very, very, very few people say no. They always sign in. And there
Oh.
are some that are going to give you the fake. Okay, I get that. But I'll tell you what, it is minuscule. Most of them are right. And it is that simple. Just ask them nicely. You don't ask them when they walk in. You ask them when you break down their barriers and now they feel comfortable with you. I have people when they leave, they reach their hand out to me to say goodbye. Thanks, Paul. I mean, that to me is like, I scored. That was a slam dunk. And I don't know if I sold them a house or not, but if they shake my hand when they leave,
But
thank you.
again, rapport was built.
Rapport.
You met them where they were. So you're
Common
asking
ground,
questions
right,
of
Doug?
interest. Exactly. And that
Yep.
kind of starts the conversation, and it goes a lot of different ways, doesn't it? Isn't that crazy how that works? But it works.
So one of the things that we're talking about here is when we first meet a buyer or seller, really your focus is to build rapport first, right? And find some common ground, because people do business with those they what? Know,
No,
like,
like
trust.
and trust.
They don't
Yep.
really know you yet, but they might figure out, I like this Paul guy. Right? And you want to move them along and you get them to like you by building rapport and common ground. I do the same thing. I sold so many homes from open houses. Families would come through, and guess who I paid attention to? Their children.
Right.
Mhm.
So that is about body language. It's about, it's only, I can't remember the percentages, but it's mostly their subconscious that you're speaking to, and you're building rapport, and you're building that connection through that common ground. And that's what's going to make them trust the next thing that comes out of your mouth.
And
Right?
so let me say
Right.
something
And-
about, let me say something
Go ahead.
about that. As you're building this rapport, they might have objections, okay, that you don't know what they're thinking, what they're about to say to you. But because you've built this rapport, because this trust factor is now starting to really take shape, all of a sudden, it's kind of like, hey, I can trust this guy. I like what he's saying to me. Again, maybe I can open up a little bit more, or a little bit more, or a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, again, like you just said, Paul, he's reaching out to shake your hand when you leave the open house. And wow, what just happened in that short period of time? So,
Mhm.
I don't know.
yeah, it's great. And again, I think you'll find less and less objections because you've started that relationship earlier in the process, and you're problem solving. You're there helping them, whether it's Kim that says, hey, I just started this. I really don't even know the first step of where I need to go next. Now you're problem solving. You're kind of helping her get on the right path. So
One of the things we need to do is an open house segment, because I think there's so many things that we could talk about. Like, I never talk about the house. Unless I have a
Right.
specific question, I'm always talking to the people. I'm breaking down the barriers and trying to get a relationship, and that's it. They see the house. I might say something like the furnace is brand new and the roof is new, because they don't see, they might not pay attention to that, but that is it. I don't follow them around. I mean, we could go on and on and on with this, but I won't go there yet. We'll do that
Yeah,
separate.
we'll come
another
back.
time.
We'll come
Let's
back.
ask some questions.
Yep, let's ask some questions. All right, Doug, so I'm going to come to you on this one. So,
yeah.
hey, Doug, it's Kim Anderson. How are you?
Hey, good, Kim. How you doing? I haven't seen you in a long time.
Great, great. Well, I've got good news.
Okay.
I took your advice, and that lender, John, he reached out to me, and we got on a path. The last few months I've been working on cleaning up my credit, and I've got good news. He says I can buy a house up to $200,000. Yay!
Oh my gosh. Wow. Like right now. Let's do it. Let's go shop.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give you that information. I'm excited about working together.
Boy, I am too, Kim. And it's really exciting. And again, this is where I would lead into this. Is very excited you did the necessary things first. You've been to John. John said yes. We now have what's called a pre-approval letter, which is our ability to say, hey, let's go shop, right? And again, that's where it's important for me to be able to start where I've left off. I've told him to go see John. John's done his thing. Now I'm back saying, okay, Kim, hey, let's get together. What's good for you this week? So we can really kind of do a deep dive into the details. What's important to you in a house, school district, all of the things that are in your mind right now, so that when we're ready to go, which it sounds like we're ready to go now, right?
Yeah.
Now we can craft that search. Now we can begin to do the right things for you and your family. Does that sound good?
Perfect, perfect. So we're gonna skip ahead. So say we'll come back and do more on open houses, more on the buyer consultation. So at this point, what we want to go to next is when Doug pulls out that buyer agency agreement. So let's just pick up right there if that feels right to you, Doug. And then we'll put those last two that we've got there.
Well, it's interesting because again, we've had different schools of thought on buyer agency. Well, when is the right time to be able to kind of put this buyer agency in front of your buyer, show them the importance of what this means to them. And again, I've had agents that have said to me, you know, I take them to the first house. We're in the middle of the first house. We start talking about the importance of that, and that's the right time to bring up a buyer agency. Well, I'm a little different. I'm the guy that talks about this up front. I'm the guy that says, hey, in order for me to do my job for you, Kim, to do the right thing for you, again, we talk about the importance of working together and our relationship and really how we're going to do this. And again, I start out by saying the importance of a buyer agency relationship is so that my full fiduciary responsibility can be to you. So that when we do go into that very first home, we do tour the home together. Again, I can then share with you some of the things that are on my mind as to what I've seen today. Does that make sense? Because if I don't have this sign, Kim, and we're walking through a house and your friend Doug Hale gets very quiet, there's not a lot I can say to you at this point in time because of our relationship. But this basically is my permission slip that I have that says, with you and me working together, that I can share with you everything that I possibly know about property A, property B, property C. And so, does that make sense? I really want to be able to do that. And again, that's how I would approach a buyer agency. And maybe it's a little bit more of a casual conversation, but I really want people to understand the benefit to them by signing this and by having me be in that position.
So do I have to sign that right now, or can't we just go out and see a couple homes first and then maybe sign it? I'm just not real comfortable with contracts. So could we just wait?
Well, we could just wait, Kim, but I just want to reiterate what I just said to you about the opportunity of really who I'm working for. Again, the idea of going to a property, you know, becoming your tour guide, maybe that's one thing to say, but again, I really feel like our relationship is just beginning, but I really want to do the right thing for you. And in order for me to do that, again, that's where this commitment to working together is so important. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. But all right. So say I sign this, but what if we start working together and it just really doesn't feel like a great match? Then what happens?
Yeah. Well, I've had that happen only one time in my life, Kim. I can tell you that. And it didn't feel good for me either, because I just really felt like I really wasn't doing what you wanted me to do. And you know, Kim, this is super important. I want you to get what you want in the time frame that you want, in the right time frame. So this sounds crazy to say this, but I love to see your reaction when I do. Fire me just like you hired me.
Okay, perfect.
So it really takes the pressure off that. I want you to work with me, and I'm going to do everything I can possibly do to earn your business and your trust. But I get it. I understand where you're coming from too. If it's not a good fit, that's where our dialogue together, I think, is important. So.
And I'll say this, and then we'll get Paul's take on it. I always say, you know, I just ask that you communicate with me. If something's not working, or if I'm not meeting your expectations, I might not be aware of it. So just communicate with me, talk to me. I really want to give you the service that you deserve. And if you know, if I'm not doing that, talk to me first, because I am very, I'm glad to adjust, right? I'm glad to make some changes. So.
Well, I want this to be a two-way street. And that's exactly what I tell people. This is a two-way street, folks. It's got to be a great partnership. We've got to feel good about this. If we don't, that's where that communication comes in that you just mentioned. So
perfect. How about you, Paul? What thoughts do you have on that?
Pretty much what Doug said, but I think a little different technique, same thing. And I think this comes from the old days of not having the computer and people not being able to see homes unless there was an ad in the newspaper, is that I was a packet guy. I would always come with one of our customized folders of the company, and I would have some listings in it and stuff like we're going to look at homes. So if we're going to go look at 3 homes, kind of like we do today, we take them and put them in there. So what I do today, if I know someone that is going to work with me, okay, we're past the stage of, well, I don't know you and blah, blah, blah. They're calling me to go see homes and stuff. And so there's kind of the relationship going. So the first house that I go to, or the first time I go out with them, let's say, I'll bring a packet, and what I put in there is the houses that we're going to see, a buyer agency agreement, and then I do put in the purchase agreement. And I do that even more now than I did before, because I don't think people read the thing anymore on .loop. Okay. So when I go meet with someone and we're going out of the first house, we're looking and we're going through, let's say 3 homes. And at the end of the 3rd home, I'll sit at that kitchen table, not sit, but stand there and go, hey, here's the packet. There's a buyer agency agreement in here, and there's a purchase agreement here. I really, guys, want you to look at this. And the buyer agency agreement is going to let me represent you. You know, back in the old days, we always worked for the seller. But this agreement is like listing a buyer, and you're committing to work with me, and I'm committing to work with you. And I would say the same thing with Doug would say, if you don't like it, we're done, because it's not working. So I have no problem with it, but take this home, read it. The next time we go look at a home, then I'm going to ask you to sign it and say, commit to me, because our time's important. And so that's what I do. And I say the same kind of stuff in the relationships and trying to explain the same thing Doug said, but I come with the packet and buy sell and take it home. And I feel that just gives them, like, I'm not pressuring them, but then the next time I'm going to put the heat on a little bit and say, hey, we went through some homes. You can fire me if you want, but now we're going to have to get going. And that's what I do.
Well, and Kim, may I just say one thing? When you put a buyer agency in front of somebody that you just met, how quick do you think they are going to? Do you think they're going to sign this?
No.
They're not going to sign this. They're not even. They're going to say, "Thank you very much. It's gone."
You're pressuring me.
You got it. You got it. And so there is. This has to be started. It has to be a conversation, and again, it has to be meaningful to both parties. So
what I have said in the past too is, like, this is a relationship between us, and I've been doing real estate, or I just started. I want this to go good for you, so that you tell your friends that Doug Hale worked for me and protected my interests and responded to me and communicated with me. This is what I want. And if I'm not doing that, then again, you can fire me. But I want you to tell your friends to call me, because I'm going to be in this business a long time.
Yeah, I like it.
Just tell them how you feel. I mean, it's the truth. It's not a car sale. It's not a car salesman thing. I want you to trust me. I want you to believe in me. And because what's going to happen, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, is you're going to be going to work and people are going to say, so you've been looking at houses? And they need to say, Paul is working his butt off for me.
Yep. Here's your real estate agent calling again.
If you go to a place and someone does a really good job, what do you do when someone asks you?
You better tell them. Exactly.
Go to this place. They cut my hair great. I love the lady there. Blah, 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 whatever.
Yep.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All good stuff. Any other tips? So today we just got to buyers. Let's pick up next week. Let's take some more seller conversations. And I mean, this is all good stuff. We love having you two pros on here you've both been in the business 20, 30, 40 years. And, you know, it's really good to share with the agents and just help them to hear the conversation. Sometimes they just like, what do I say? I remember having an open house and thinking, okay, when they walk in the door, what am I gonna say to them? How am I gonna start a conversation? And we hope that we're showing you that it's just dialogue. It's about really being interested in them, finding common ground, building rapport, and then just allowing the conversation to take place as you weave in some of these other topics, right?
Right.
And let me say something. Buyers know when you're dialed into their needs, wants, wishes, desires, right?
Yeah.
They know when you're genuine and you really want the right thing for them. And so that's where that conversation just is so meaningful on the onset. And again, I always say, be careful. They might tell you more than you want to know, right? They might just share with you all kinds of things. But isn't that great? I love the fact that people are going to share with me the important things and a lot of the struggles that they're going through. Maybe they're not ready to buy the house right now, Kim, but
Right.
you know something? But you're setting the path in place for that to happen for them. And there's a lot of agents that don't do that. Man alive, they give up on them so early in the process. So
Mhm. Paul,
The
you
other
had,
thing that I would say too is make sure that you do what you say you're gonna do.
yeah,
If they ask you for something, or you tell them you're gonna do something, do it quickly, and then they will be, this builds that trust more and more and more, and that I can count on that person. The other thing that I would suggest, because we're at 10:30, is that if you guys have any questions that you want to have us answer, send them to Kim. Kim's kind of our moderator, and she's been collecting the questions that Doug and I have come up with. So if you got anything, send it to her, and then we'll address those first time next week and see that you're struggling with an objection that you might be getting from somebody. So
absolutely, absolutely. All good stuff. Yeah, please send those questions over to me and I'll add them to the list and put these guys in the hot seat. And as we close, I always said, you know, when I got into sales 20 years ago, I'm not a salesperson. I hate the local furniture company. We all know who that is, right? The Sharps.
Yeah.
I will run from them and I will purposely, if they don't back off, I will purposely go buy from somebody else. I don't like that feeling. So what we want to do is establish that trust that you're really here for me. You're not just trying to make a sale. So I always, what I had to tell myself when I got into sales was I help people. I don't sell homes. I sell or build trust. So anytime I have a cold call, a sign call, a Zillow call, whatever it is, my first move is to establish trust and rapport. So let's leave leave the agents, leave everybody with that. Focus on building the rapport, building trust, finding common ground, let the other person on the end know that you care and you're there to help them. And I guarantee you'll win every time. Right?
Yep,
All
absolutely.
right. All right. Well, thank you guys. We're going to wrap it up. Hope everybody has an awesome Thursday. And we will be back here with some more loaded questions ready to go next Thursday at 10 a.m. All right.
Stay,
send in some questions. Send in some questions.
Send us questions. All right.
stay dry, people. Stay dry.
All right.
See
See
ya.
ya. Bye.